Hi guys, what's up? It's Micah and today I'm going to be making Sushi Bake. Today I'm going to be making my version of Sushi Bake using fresh salmon, so it's going to be raw and it's going to be delicious. So one of my favorite sushi rolls or sushi flavors is salmon, and I really love it when my salmon is torched. So they usually put a layer of mayo and then they torch it with the kitchen torch like this, and it just imparts such a great smoky seared flavor. So that's what I'm going to do today with my Sushi Bake. Okay, so let's get started. So first I'm going to be using a glass bake safe dish here to assemble the Sushi Bake. And I have in this bowl some sushi rice. So sushi rice is a short grain rice. It's a lot stickier than the regular rice we're used to. So this is why it works really well in sushi, because it clumps up together really nicely. I just seasoned it with some rice vinegar, some salt, and some sugar. And I'm gonna put this on our bottom layer here. So to make the rice, I put 2 cups of sushi rice. I washed it really well until it ran clear. And then I put in 2.5 cups of water. And I put it in my rice cooker. And it's gonna look a little bit wet in the beginning, but once it starts to cool down, a lot of the moisture evaporates. And then you're left with the sticky rice. And then you can season it. My rice right now is about room temperature. You can also store it in the fridge, and then when you're about to use it, I suggest microwaving it so it's easier to work with. So I'm just going to flatten it into the pan, and you can add as much or as little rice as you want. There's no specific right or wrong way to do it. So I finished flattening it in my rice. It comes about like 1/4 of the way up the pan. So I'm gonna put this aside, and then we're gonna assemble our mixture. So in a bowl here, I'm going to be making our mixture to put on top of the Sushi Bake. So I just have here some imitation crab sticks, and I strung them apart so that they're easier to work with, and I kind of pressed out some water that I could get out so that it's a little bit drier and not watery on top of the rice dish. So I'm going to put that in here to my bowl. So I am using Japanese mayo. It usually comes in a bottle like this, and it's convenient because you could just squeeze it out, and it's a lot sweeter than American mayo, but if you can't find it or if you don't have it available, you can definitely just use American mayo. But if you can find this, I recommend using it in your Sushi Bake. So I'm going to use about 1/4 of a cup of mayo, and you can make this as saucy as you like or as dry as you like. So there's no specific measurement, just as long as your crab isn't drowning in mayo. So we have that, and I'm also gonna add some sour cream because the sour cream cuts through the richness of the mayo. So the sour cream is nice and tangy, and it's just a nice contrast instead of just making this whole thing all mayonnaise based. So you can play around with the ratio that you like. I like about equal parts of mayo and sour cream. So we'll just mix this together. Next, I'm adding some green onions into my mixture because the green onions impart such a great flavor in it, and it really flavors the mayo and cuts throughout all that mayonnaise fat. So I'm putting about almost all my scallions, and I'm just saving a little bit for garnish for the top. So this is going to be really flavorful. And the consistency or the texture you're looking for should be similar to a tuna salad or to a chicken salad. So just that same consistency and mayo to meat mixture. Next, I'm going to be adding some mangoes. Now these mangoes are unripe mangoes, so they're firmer and they're a little bit more tangy than the regular mangoes that you're used to. I like these because they provide such a nice sweetness and a little bit of crunch, so it's really good. So if you don't like mango, you can definitely just skip this. This is definitely not traditional, but I really like it together because it cuts through, like I said, it cuts through all that mayonnaise mix. So right now, this is what my mixture is looking like. So you want that consistency right there. Okay, now I'm going to be adding my raw salmon. So make sure you get good quality salmon and make sure it doesn't have a bad smell to it. It should just smell clean and it should not even really have a smell at all. I'm going to save just a little bit for the top for garnish as well. And I put this in last because I don't want to crush up the salmon too much. And I'm going to be adding some masago to the mixture. So these are little flying fish roe. And if you've never had them, they're very salty, a little bit sweet. They have a nice texture, almost like popping bubbles, but smaller. So it's nice and crunchy. If you haven't had it, you can find it at your nearest Asian market. And it's commonly found in sushi anyways. So I'm just gonna fold that in as well, and then I'm gonna add some for the top for garnish. And it's nice and orange. There's different flavors. You can find a wasabi flavor. There's orange, there's red, there's black. So whatever color you can find, but typically it's usually orange. So now this is what we have right here. So this is what you want. This is the consistency and texture and ratio that you want. Okay, so I set my mixture aside here and I brought back our rice dish. And so we're gonna put some Furikake rice seasoning on top. It's really good. It's a bunch of seaweed, a little bit of salt and sugar and sesame seeds, and you can just eat this over rice and call it a meal because it's really good. It adds a great flavor and a great texture because of those sesame seeds. So I'm putting just a light dusting on the rice to season the rice. If you've never had it, it actually kind of smells like corn. So it's like a sweet smell. Oops. So that's what that looks like. And now I'm just gonna plop the whole mixture on top, nice and evenly. So you could do this with just a crab stick, or you could do it with all raw salmon. You could do it with cooked salmon. You could do it with tuna. Probably even chicken would taste good with this since it's like a chicken salad. So it's very versatile. You could do whatever you want. And you could add cucumber to it if you have. You could add avocado. This is what it looks like now. And then we are going to put our garnishes. So I'm going to add a little bit more scallion on top. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. There's plenty of scallion in the dish anyways. I want to add some more furikake. I'm going to add a little bit more masago on top, just kind of disperse it. Such a nice color, it's like a bright orange. So I'm gonna add it on top. They kind of clump up together, so it's kind of hard to sprinkle it evenly, but just try the best you can. Good. And we're gonna add our remaining salmon on top. Just so you know, there's salmon in it. And this salmon is gonna get nice and torched already so much fat in the salmon. It's just gonna release a lot of flavor. So I'm going to add some panko. This is a Japanese breadcrumb. It's really crunchy compared to American breadcrumbs. I'm just gonna add a little bit on top for some texture. Not traditional in Sushi Bake, but there's a lot of sushis that have the crispy breadcrumbs on top, so I thought this would be a nice addition. Okay, so now we are going to put the sauces. You could add sriracha to this too if you like, if you want to make it spicy, but you can definitely add just mayo would be fine, but I also chose to add the sushi sauce. This is kind of like eel sauce if you would find it in your typical eel with avocado roll or your typical shrimp tempura roll. It's really good. It's kind of like a sweet soy sauce, kind of similar to teriyaki. So now I'm just gonna try to make a good design. And that is our final product for the Sushi Bake for now. And so typically people would instruct you to put this in the oven, but I personally don't think putting it in the oven is crucial to this dish, but I definitely think you need to broil the top. So that involves putting it in the oven, or you could torch it with a kitchen torch. So I just bought this, so I'm trying to use it as much as I can, so that's why I'm gonna torch it and not put it in the oven. Because everything here is already, you know, how it should be. I want the salmon to be raw, so I don't want to bake it in the oven. So now I'm going to torch the top so that the mayo and the eel sauce get nice and caramelized and seared. I just finished torching my Sushi Bake, so it's finally finished and ready to be eaten. So I'm gonna give it a taste test. So traditionally, Sushi Bake is eaten with nori sheets. You could find the bigger nori sheets and eat it with that, but I find that the smaller ones are crunchier and it's just a nice texture. This is what that single piece looks like. This is one of my favorite sushi bakes I've ever had because it's good. I like the mango. It provides such a great contrast in flavor, and it's a nice twist on the regular sushi bake with just a crab. So the salmon, I highly recommend trying it with the salmon. If you like raw salmon, you should definitely try it together. The scallions come through really well, so it offsets all the kind of seafood, fishy flavors in there. It really kind of cleanses the palate. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys try this recipe out. This is a really, really awesome dish. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!